Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about phone sales mastery. My name's Greg Nelson. I'm a sales trainer, sales coach. I own a sales training and coaching company here in the Pacific Northwest called The Hard Knock State. I'm also a licensee for Grant Cardone, and I'm certified to deliver curriculum from Grant Cardone's 10X sales professional courses. And so one of these courses is phone sales mastery. Before we get started and going through some of this material, I wanted to let you know about February 11th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. At During that time, I am going to be kicking off my half-day workshop where we're going to go through the complete phone sales mastery program. This half-day workshop is going to be probably roughly 3 to 4 hours long. It's going to be interactive. You're going to get a follow along and study at home workbook to go along with it. You're going to learn topics such as how to master the most valuable tool in your business. So we're going to be going over some of that information today. How to handle the incoming call, how to take control of the call, how to set appointments, and much more. This half-day workshop is available for $19.95, and you can go to thehardknockstate.com, just as you see right here. Scroll to the bottom of the appointments page, click on book for the phone sales mastery, the interactive boot camp, to schedule your seat today. There is limited seating available, and the format is going to look slightly different than what it looks right now. This streaming service that I'm using to stream out to the different social media sites, we're going to be doing this boot camp via Zoom. So the look is going to be a little bit different. The interaction is going to be much easier. But when I was, I got to say, I was getting prepared for this live stream today. And, I was thinking back to about 10 years ago. I remember this one day in particular. I was walking into a sales meeting while looking at my paycheck. It was our Friday meeting for the whole sales department. And I remember looking at my paycheck, and I remember sitting down in my chair. I opened my paycheck up, and my face turned bright red. I slumped in my chair trying to hide. I was thinking about my kids and how I was going to keep the lights on. And then I heard it. Hey, Greg, I was being called on by the sales manager to tell the entire department how many sales I had for the month, or more like didn't have. I was embarrassed. I was demotivated, and my performance for the rest of the weekend was shot. And the worst thing of all, when I walked home that evening, my wife greeted me at the door and told me our water had been turned off. It wasn't long after that I remember taking a coffee break with a coworker who hadn't been in the selling profession for as long as I have. And I asked him what he was doing differently, because his sales seemed to be increasing where mine were flat or going backwards. And he turned me on to a gentleman and recommended an audiobook. I went out and I got one of these audiobooks, and the author of this audiobook was Grant Cardone. So I started getting this audiobook. I got another audiobook and then another one. Eventually, I started going to some of his online webinars, and then I enrolled in Cardone University. And by the end of that year, I was one of the top performers in the store that I worked at. 6 months later, I got promoted into management, where I was teaching and training other sales associates the information on how I became successful. In fact, I would teach them on how to sell more, sell consistently, and earn more on each sale. And it's all Grant's material. And so if you don't know who Grant Cardone is, you've been sleeping under a rock. Grant Cardone is an internationally renowned speaker on leadership, real estate investing, entrepreneurship, social media, and finance. Number one on Forbes' list of 25 marketing influencers to watch. He's the best-selling author of several books, including The 10X Rule, The Only Difference Between Success and Failure. And 7 of his privately held companies have revenues in exceeding, I believe it's well over $200 million annually. So this is the how we're going to go over some of these slides here and give you some information on what we're going to be covering more in depth on February 11th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And again, go to thehardknockstate.com and book your seat for the complete or for the phone sales mastery workshop or boot camp. It's $19.95 and there's limited seating available. So, how handling the incoming call? The telephone is the single most effective way to communicate with a prospective client without being directly in front of them. The value of a phone: you create an impression of yourself prior to meeting the buyer. You can sell appointments. You can efficiently communicate with many different people. The value of a phone: it's essential for handling incoming calls. It's a competitive advantage. It gives you an edge in the marketplace. And this could not be more truer than what it is today. Today, with the workforce that we have, many of the individuals, some of the, if you're under 40 years old, you're probably not skilled on being on the phone. Those of us 40 and older, heck, we remember phones with a telephone cord. We remember walking around with that cordless phone with a big extendable antenna, walking through the house with one of those and hiding in our bedroom and talking to our boyfriend and our girlfriend for hours at a time. The phone for us, it was part of our livelihood. It was what made the day. We would go to school, we'd come home, we'd do our chores, do our homework, and then we'd hop on the phone with our best friend or our boyfriend or girlfriend, and we would talk for hours. Today, everything is all about the text. Everything is all about not trying to communicate over the phone. In fact, most phones today, for some reason, there's many phones, I wouldn't say most, but many phones today where the people don't even set up their voicemail box system. Or if they do have it set up, usually it's full because they don't even listen to the messages. It's pretty sad today, but if you really needed to get a hold of somebody and you're trying to call them by the phone, by the telephone, you're going to need to probably call them more than once. And we're going to cover some of this today and take a further dive into this material on February 11th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And again, you can book your seat at thehardknockstate.com. Buyers like shopping on the phone. It's a more efficient use of time. So right here, you have this little diagram of the types of different calls. You have the incoming calls, calling back showroom traffic, creating new customers, and follow-up of sold customers. Rules of the phone. Rule number 1, always make a call with a purpose. Pay complete attention to that call. So when you're making the phone call, you want to have something more to say than, hey, look, I'm just following up with you. Time and time again, I can't believe how many times I've heard this phone call be made over and over again. Hey, I'm just following up with you. Wanted to see if you've given it any more thought. And then then they say, hey, you know what, I have, or hey, now's not a good time, or hey, you know what, we haven't given it much thought since we left yesterday, but I'll call you if I need anything. And the salesperson just says, okay, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Jones. Thank you. Do you have my phone number? And then they go through that whole thing again without any purpose. So you need to always make a call with a purpose and pay complete attention to what your prospective client or customer on the other side of the phone is saying. Rule number 2, always have multiple reasons. You need to have different places to go to keep the buyer or the caller interested. Rule number 3, never make one phone call. Block out 40 minutes and see how many calls you can make in that period of time. Never sit down at your desk or pick up your phone just to make one phone call. Make many phone calls. Make that time productive. Rules of the phone number 4, Always leave a message. Always, always, always leave a message. 98% of salespeople break this rule. And I got to tell you, when somebody's calling me and I don't recognize that phone number, and if they don't leave a message, I don't call them back. The second time they call again, if they don't leave a message, I don't call them back and I just ignore it. The third time, if they call and they don't leave a message, obviously I know it's nobody I need to talk to and it's nothing important. And typically, what I do after the third call of not leaving a message is I block the number. And I'm not a fan of that. There's many people who do that just because, hey, we get bombarded daily with robocalls, solicitations, things that are not important. And as a caller, as you call, picking up the phone and calling your prospective client or your prospective customer, you need to keep that in mind. Always, always, always leave a message. Rule number 5, always talk to multiple people. The goal is to multiply your presence. And so if you're calling a business or an organization and you're calling, trying to get a hold of the decision maker, so you can get some time set aside for a one-on-one. If you get a voicemail system, leave your message of exactly what that call is pertaining to and the reason for it, and then hit 0, go back to the operator and ask for the person who's right below the decision maker, and then call them. If you can't get a hold of them, leave a message, hit 0, go back to the operator, ask who's below that person, and do that over and over again. Try to talk to multiple people on that phone call, anybody who might be a decision maker. Rule number 6, always try another way to get that person. While you're calling and leaving a message, if you're calling and leaving a message, and if you have speaker, you have a headset, text them while you're on the phone call, and then or email them, or find another number or another way you could reach out to them. And there's many creative different ways we're going to talk about more in depth when we go over this material on February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Rules of the phone number 8. Always collect email addresses. The more ways you can get in touch with your prospective buyer, your prospective client, the better off you're going to be. So when you're calling them, let them know you want to email them some important information. You have some information you need to get across to them, and it's hard to relay that over the phone. And get their email address, send them that information, some third-party data, and then you have their email on file. So if it is really important and you need to continue your follow-up to try to close your sale with the customer, you'll have multiple lines of communication. Rule number 9, follow up a phone call with another type of communication. So there again, and you're talk on the phone with your prospective client, you get off, send them an email, thank them for their time on the phone, and remind them or recap exactly what you talked about during that conversation. And rule number 10, approach every call with a great attitude. I always have on my computer screen, above the screen, I always have a little piece of paper tape that says smile. And because people can hear your tone of your voice, and they can tell whether you're smiling or whether you're frowning. And if you're slouched down in your chair and your diaphragm's closed and you're trying to communicate with somebody over the phone, they know that they know you're not smiling. They can hear it in the tone of your voice. So always have a great attitude and always approach every call and smile. Myths about the phone. The phone is a waste of time. If the buyer was serious, he or she would come in and not call me. In fact, the opposite of that is true. When I'm calling on the phone, they are more serious than anything else. And they want to make sure their time's not going to be wasted by driving into your store. If you have followed some of these live streams in the past, or if you've heard me speak about this in the past, then you know that most consumers in today's world do 40 hours of research on one product before they walk into that store to make their purchase. All miss opportunities using this is another myth. I'm scared of the phone. And boy, just as I kind of covered today, any millennial or if you're under 40 years old, they may be a little bit nervous and scared to talk on the phone. The phone doesn't work for me. And it's never the phone that works for somebody. You have to work the phone. I can't sell my product on the phone. Well, that's simply because knowledge in order to sell your product on the phone. Leaving messages doesn't work. Cold calling is a waste of time. The best salespeople I know don't use the phone. If I give people too much information on the phone, they're just going to buy for my competition. So now it's your turn. Take a look at the top 10 reasons, the myths, the list that we just covered about the phone. Circle the number of the ones you may have believed or may had a belief in before today, before hearing this information. Of the 4 types of calls, which do you think you're most proficient at? And which is currently the hardest for you? And why is that? Part number 2, handling the incoming phone call. Controlling the call. The incoming call. The incoming call is when the prospect calls your company seeking information. They're calling looking for more information to see if you have that product in stock or if you offer the service with the benefits that they're looking for. Most of the time, they are not on the right product. This caller is trying to determine if it's worth coming in to see you. And the buyer tends to be better qualified financially. Most scripts are not organized for the buyer. What does the prospect want to find out or accomplish when they call your place of business? When they call your showroom, your store, or your office, what do they want to accomplish? The buyer's goals. Number 1 is they want to get more information. Above anything else, they want more information. Number 2, as they want to establish distance between you as the salesperson or the selling company and themselves to get that information. They want to avoid obligation. They don't want to be obligated to wasting their time or your time. Number 4, they want to save time. They just want to know they've got a list of businesses or people they're going to contact to see who's got what they're looking for, typically the prices, the availability, the colors, the options, the features, etc. And so by making phone calls, they could sit down, they figure they could take 10, 15, 30 minutes, run through the list of the companies, determine what place they're going to go test out and get more information on that product or service. And number 5, they want to determine if you have what they want. Number 6, they want to find out the cost. Number 7, they want to determine if it's worth their time. Number 8, they want to find out if you can and if you will help them. And number 9, they want to confirm that you have the product or service. The goal of a phone call is to use what the customer wants in order to get in front of the client and sell them your product or service. The salesperson's goals on the phone. Number 1, you want to stand out from everyone else. Number 2, you want to gain access to the prospect's name, cell phone number, and their email address. Number 3, you want to get an in-person appointment to meet one-on-one. Number 4, you want to reconfirm the appointment. Number 5, you want to summarize what you will do for them. And number 6, you want to confirm what the buyer should be looking for. The salesperson's responsibility. Number 1, you have to maintain a positive attitude. You know, when we Go in our group coaching sessions when we cover when we're doing our complete sales mastery weekly group coaching sessions. We go over this in depth and we talk about maintaining the right attitude in order to succeed. Attitude is the key. It is really and should be truly the number one step in the perfect sales process. We got to have the right attitude. We got to have an attitude like, no problem, sir. Be happy to do that for you, ma'am. I'd love to get that for you. How can I help? Number two, we need to be professional and courteous. Hey, thank you. Thank you for calling. My name is. Number three, we want to qualify the buyer, take interest in them, and determine what their needs are. Number four, we want to get their name and information. Don't do this until you complete steps 1, 2, and 3. By trying to put this, you're putting the cart before the horse. And number five, we want to sell our name and our phone number. Number six, we want to take notes. We want to have a notepad, legal pad, blank for every caller. We want to use a control card, use a call card or a script. And number seven, turn your script or your call card into your manager so they can help you if you can't schedule the appointment. And if you do schedule the appointment, the manager can call and confirm. Number eight, be prepared. Don't be distracted while you are taking a phone call. Number nine, follow up. Get back in touch with a text, an email, or a phone call. And number 10, use the information as a way to separate yourself from the marketplace and your competition. Handling the phone today in today's world, being able to handle it professionally will right off the bat separate you from your competition. The guy down the street isn't handling or putting this much thought, time, or effort into taking the incoming phone call. And just by you polishing your phone skills and going to the Complete Sales Mastery, a half-day workshop on February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time for $19.95, come Monday, or going back into the office on Sunday, or meeting your appointment on Saturday afternoon, you're going to be deadly. After this half-day workshop, you're going to be so pumped up about using the phone, and with all the new knowledge you're going to gain from this half-day workshop, you're going to start making phone calls right away. You're going to start scheduling your appointments to sell your products or your services. You'll close more deals by getting good on the phone. The types of the calls, the price call. How much is it? Know how much it is. And make sure you know the cost of the products or the goods that you're selling. And if you're an associate working in a big house, man, you know your product line. You be a professional. To be a professional, you got to act like a professional. And professionals know their product line. The types of the calls. Number two is the advertising call, a call generated from TV, radio, print, direct mail, or the internet. Your company has some advertisement out there in the marketplace that are asking the potential customer to pick up the phone and call into your store. Number three is the availability call. A customer's doing research on a product or a service. They're calling your store to inquire about whether the product is available. Number, the general product calls. General questions about whether the product will satisfy their needs. Number five, the appraisal call. An inquiry to find out what something is worth. In an automotive dealership, you get this call all the time, and it's always typically handled wrong. It's usually, hey, I've got a car I'm looking at trading in, and I just want to find out what the value is. And the first thing, typically, the sale will have you looked online to find out what the value is, and then right there, the call goes south. And usually 30 seconds later, the phone is hung up without an appointment. Number six is the down payment call, an inquiry to find out if they need to put money down or secure financing. Number seven, an interest rate call. The prospect is inquiring about the interest rate of financing your product. Credit problem calls. These are very common in installment sales. They just want to call. They've been turned down at every store, every place they've gone into, they've been turned down. So they want to call to see if their time isn't going to be wasted, to see if you're going to be able to get them approved. Send me more information calls. The prospect is inquiring to find out more about your product. Number 10, calling for someone else. The prospect is calling on behalf of somebody else. So what to avoid when on a call? You never want to handle a call while you're preoccupied. Never tell the buyer that you don't have what they want. And never handle the call without your script, your format, or your phone card, or your phone call guide. Never give a price on one product, and never say you can't, never say you won't. Never say it's not available. Never say we can't do that. Never argue with a caller. Boy, this is a common mistake. We just all of a sudden we want to make sure everybody knows that we're right and that we know what we're talking about. And a lot of times this just ends up in an argument. Never avoid asking for name. Never avoid asking for a name, a number, and an email address. And we want the number we want is the cell phone number. And never keep them on one product. Always offer alternatives. Always offer multiple options. Never offer an appointment without offering choices first. And never get off the call without selling your name. And never end a call without sending some type of follow-up, text message, or email. Never blame the customer for anything. And we'll learn a lot more about into depth on February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you go to thehardknockstate.com, and I'll pull up the screen here, go to thehardknockstate.com and scroll down to the bottom of the appointment section and click on Phone Sales Mastery Interactive Bootcamp. On February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, I'm putting on my Phone Sales Mastery Interactive Bootcamp. We're going over Grant Cardone's 10X Sales Professional course of Phone Sales Mastery. And by the time this half-day workshop is done, you'll be able to use the information you learned immediately. You'll be able to start picking up the phone as soon as the workshop's done, and you'll be able to start setting more appointments to close people on your product or service. And you're going to learn how to master the most valuable tool in your business. You're going to learn how to handle the phone call, regardless of whether it's incoming or outgoing. You're going to learn how to control the phone call. You're going to learn how to set appointments and much more. Other topics such as like prospecting and cold calling. It's $19.95 and there's limited seating available. If you go to thehardknockstate.com, go to thehardknockstate.com and scroll down into the appointment section. Back that out here for you so you can see exactly how it's done. Oh, my mouse is scrolled to the bottom of the appointments. Click the book. And then just go ahead and sign up there. And it's as easy as that. With this class, you're also going to get a follow along and study at home 10X Sales Professional course workbook. And so this is Phone Sales Mastery. And I got to tell you, you learn to get good on the phone, you're going to become a deadly sales professional. If you're stumbling on the phone right now, join me on February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's $19.95. And the information you're going to learn through this Phone Sales Mastery class, you can take with you and use this information moving forward with your career. It's information that you could use from now until you end your career in sales. And even when you're in retirement and a salesperson calls your phone while you're sitting on your back porch drinking your lemonade, you'll be able to handle the phone call properly. It's Phone Sales Mastery. It's 1995 half-day workshop. Learn to get good at on the phone. Learn to make your phone skills. If you can learn to sell on the phone, you can sell in person. And I got to tell you, you'll sell just by getting good on the phone. You'll sell 30% more than what you're currently selling right now. And so we're talking about handling the incoming call, going through setting the appointment. So the greeting, your greeting is your first impression. Harvard University did a study that a customer or a potential customer will form an opinion of us in person in the first 5 seconds. On the phone, they're still formulating an opinion of us, even though they can't see us. In your greeting, use your first name only. Answer the phone with enthusiasm and take the call seriously. Be genuine and be sincere. Remember, service is senior to selling. We're going to start fact finding. How to know if you're on the right product. Qualify what they have now or a similar situation, and ask about similar situations. Offer more information than what they've asked for. So when they're calling in on one product or one service, offer more information. Let them know that you're there to truly help them find the right solution to their problem. Getting the buyer's information, their name and cell phone number are the only pieces of information you need. Give the buyer a reason to want to give you this information and set your hook. You don't have to make a decision today, do you? Great. Let me gather that information for you. Give them a reason that you'll be calling them back. So, hey, look, you don't have to buy today, do you? Great. Hey, let me gather up this information for you and I'll call you right back. The difference between the mediocre and the masters are the appointment. When you are available, when are you available to come in and take a look at what we have available for you this afternoon or tonight? Hey, Mr. Jones, when are you going to be available to come in and take a look at the car that you called on this afternoon or later this evening? What time for us to get together this afternoon or tonight? Will you be available to make it tonight before we close so that you could take advantage of the availability or the big sale we're having? Or will it be later than tonight? When can you come in so we can take care of what you want this afternoon or this evening or tonight? What is the most convenient time for us to get together today? Or can I get 10 minutes from you tomorrow in the morning? How do you set the appointment? You ask for the appointment. You assume the appointment and you offer choices to the appointment. I can't make it tonight. I understand, but surely you could if it was important enough to you. If I had exactly what you wanted and you could make the perfect deal, surely you could come in and make it in. How about this afternoon, tonight, or on your way home this evening? How about this one? I can't make it tonight. Okay, how about I bring it to you? How about I deliver all the information as well? It only takes about 10 minutes. Before 5 or after, which is better for you? I can't make it tonight. I assure you, it's not going to be a waste of your time. I have exactly what you want and some other options that you'll want to at least consider. Come on out. It doesn't cost anything to collect some information. What works for you? Before 3 or after? I can't make it tonight. Here's another one. I know how busy you are. How about I come out to you, show you exactly what I have in mind for you, exactly what we could do for you. Look, if you're not satisfied, I wouldn't expect you to do business with us. I can't make it until this weekend. Oh, don't do that to yourself, John. Give yourself 10 minutes. Come out before the weekend. I assure you it's going to be worth your trip. It's going to be worth your time. How about tonight before 6? Would that work? Or just a little later be better? I'm not until I can afford it. That's exactly why I'm suggesting you come in today. With the big promotion, the high availability, the low rates, I'm confident we can make this work for you. What works for you, this afternoon or this evening? I live 40 miles from there. Hey, I understand. If you leave right now, you'd be here before 5. If the trip proves to be a waste of your time, I'll buy dinner and replace your fuel. How about before 5 or just after? Just give me the information. By the time we hang up, you're going to have all the information in your email. I'm also going to text you. You cannot make an intelligent decision like this without actually touching it, seeing it, and feeling it. And I know for sure what I'm going to give you and offering and what I'm going to offer to you. What do you say? I assure you, it won't be a waste of your time. Could you be here in 20 minutes? From where you could be here in 20 minutes for where you're calling from or just after. Let's run through that one again. Just give me the information. By the time we hang up, we're going to have all the information in your email. I'm also going to text you. You cannot make an intelligent decision like this without actually touching it, seeing it, and feeling it. And I know, and knowing for sure of what I'm giving you and offering you is what I say it is. I assure you, it won't be a waste of your time. Could you be here? You could be here in 20 minutes from where you're calling from, or just after that. I don't know when I could make it. If you make time today, I assure you, I'll make it worth your time. This afternoon or tonight. Come on. You'll love what I have to show you, and I have it available right now. We've got a great promotion going on. Would this afternoon work good, or would tonight be better? This is the first place call. Great. Head on over and head on over here, and on the way over, call as many places as you want. So when you get here, you'll have everything you need to compare. I'll show you exactly what I could do for you and exactly what we have. I'm going to show you some other options you haven't even considered. And when I show you how easy it is to do business with us, and you have some things to compare to, you'll know exactly what you need to do. When's the best time for you? Before 6 or a little bit after? We're not doing anything for 6 months. That's fine. I'll be here 6 months from now. Do your homework so you have exactly the information you need. This afternoon or tonight, what's better for you? I already have other plans tonight. Hey, let's make this part of your plans then. Give me 10 minutes of your time. Out of the plans you have committed to, what's best for you? Before 5, after 5, what works? I already have other plans tonight, Greg. Hey, let's make this a part of your plan then. Give me 10 minutes of your time, and on your way out to the plans you have committed to, what's best for you? Before 5 or after 5, what works? And then when you're ending the call, you want to ask them to find a pen. You want to have them write down your name and phone number. You want to secure and lock up the appointment. And you want to text or email to follow up the conversation you just had. And we're going to go through this in depth, and you're going to have much more time to work and take notes on this information on February 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, where we'll be going in depth the Phone Sales Mastery 10X Sales Professional course. After this half-day workshop, you're going to be well prepared to go back into the marketplace, pick up that phone when it starts ringing. In fact, you're going to have so much information after this half-day workshop that when the phone rings, you're going to dive to it. You're going to probably knock it off the receiver as you're going to pick it up. You're going to learn how to master the most valuable tool in your business. And the phone for a salesperson is the most valuable tool in your your toolbox. In fact, it's the most powerful weapon you have in your arsenal, next to being in front of them face to face. You're going to learn how to handle the call. You're going to learn how to control the call. You're going to learn how to set appointments and much, much more. It's $19.95. And if you go to thehardknockstate.com, scroll down to the bottom of the appointments page and hit the book button. And then we take all major credit cards. You'll be emailed a Zoom link for the half-day workshop. So we're going to recap on what we went over here. The importance of the telephone. We talked about the different types of calls. We talked about what makes a good salesperson. We talked about the myths of selling on the phone. That we talked about controlling the call. And we also talked about the types of incoming calls and the parts of the call. Remember, attitude is everything. You have to have an attitude of service and an attitude that you will get an appointment from the call. Without that, you're going to fail. You just need to assume you're going to set the appointment. And on February 11th, we'll take the deep dive into this. At 10 a.m. Pacific time, it's the Phone Sales Mastery Half-Day Boot Camp. And it's $19.95. There is limited seating available. February 11th falls on a Saturday. And so Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Phone Sales Mastery. And again, it's thehardknockstate.com. You go to thehardknockstate.com, scroll down, way down to the right, over halfway down to webinars and virtual workshops. Click the book button and complete your enrollment. You won't be sorry. The skills you're going to learn through this half-day workshop, you'll be able to take and use immediately. If you learn to get good on the phone, if you make this a priority to become the true sales professional, more than what you're currently selling now. And if you're not good on the phone, incorporating this and making this as important as polishing your skills when you're directly in front of your potential customers when they walk into your store or your showroom. By getting good on the phone, you'll increase your sales by at least 30%. And I got to tell you, it wasn't until I understood this that my sales absolutely took off. Wasn't until I took the dive into Grant Cardone's 10X material through Cardone University where my sales just really took off. And I got to tell you this funny little story. When it was in my very early days of selling. I remember I didn't know much about the phones. I didn't know how to handle the phone call. I didn't know really what to say when I was calling to follow up with people. And I remember this one time in particular, I had sold this car to this mom and daughter, and I feel so bad for them. I had probably, I was so poor on the phone and never knew what to say. I sounded like a broken record calling and following because they had told me they wanted to purchase an additional